Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by Celsius, the official energy drink of PewterReport.com. A happy Victory Tuesday to everybody tuning in and joining the chat on today's show. Don't always have a Tuesday episode, but when the Bucs play on Monday, especially when it's a playoff game on Monday that they won, we go live on Tuesday. So we'll have a Victory Tuesday, some roll call, a lot of fun stuff to get into. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at PewterReport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. And Scott, I know we're a couple of hours removed from the game last night where the Bucs trounced the Philadelphia Eagles 32-9. I don't think the vibes have come down at all. I still feel great about this team. I'm very happy for the fans. And, it's a good feeling this week as the Bucs start to prepare for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, it really is, Matt. And it's awesome anytime you beat Philadelphia, right? Because the long-time fans of the Buccaneers just know, going back to the Tony Dungy years and then the John Gruden Super Bowl season, they've had to suffer at the expense of Philly fan for quite some time. And it's nice to get some milestone wins, right? In 2002, to shut down the Vet. That's an institution in Philly, the Veteran Stadium. To shut down the Vet the way they did in epic fashion with Rondé Barber's 92-yard pick six to the Super Bowl was fun to see. Then the next year, the NFL, even though the Bucs were Super Bowl champions, the NFL scheduled Tampa Bay to go on the road to defend their title and open up the Lincoln Financial Field in Philly on Monday night. And the Bucs christened that building with a red and pewter W as well. So, and last night, it was the end of an era for Jason Kelce, who was another Philadelphia Eagles institution to be ravaged and pillaged by the Buccaneers. So, in his last tush push, Matt, it didn't work.
Yeah, it was like... for those that have watched Talladega Nights with Ricky Bobby, the villain, the guy that Will Ferrell has a rivalry with, the French guy who plays Borat, he kept competing. He's like, I can't stop playing. I can't stop competing until someone beats me. And then finally Will Ferrell beats him and he can retire. Yeah. That's kind of like what happened with Jason Kelce. You had to kill the tush push.
Yeah.
And then now he's no longer in the league. One last thing on that with Jason Kelce, I thought was kind of interesting and odd that, like, he let another reporter kind of, break that story. Dude, you have your own podcast, which is very, very wildly popular with your brother, Travis Kelce. Make the announcement on the podcast. Get those numbers, man. So that was a missed opportunity for him.
No, I'm with you on that for sure. And, just a great career for Jason Kelce. It's been a thorn in the Bucs side for a couple of times. Of course, the Buccaneers did beat the Eagles back in 2021, and so there's that. But yeah, I mean, just to see the last tush push, because I don't know if it works without Jason Kelce. I mean, he's kind of the driver for that car, if you will. And just to see it crash and burn like that at the goal line with KJ Britt going over the top, Vita Vea, Logan Hall submarining underneath the line, Will Golston, Greg Gaines. I mean, it was quite the epic show for the Buccaneers defense, not just to stop the run, not just to get after Jalen Hurts and sack him a couple times and also get a safety, but to end the tush push for the 2023 season with an L was pretty epic, if you ask me.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, a lot of fun, and I just keep going back to, like, fantastic job by the defense, but I feel like the Eagles kind of did the Bucs some favors too, like not running the football. Obviously, not tackling either. So I'm definitely not trying to take anything away from Bucs fans or the way that the Bucs won. I just don't think that, especially Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, I don't think the Lions will make those same mistakes that the Eagles did. And they're a much
I'm with you.
better team. Yep. They're faster. So yeah, I think it makes for a really fun matchup because, as we've been talking about, this is the revenge tour for the Buccaneers and revenge for Todd Bowles as well. You know, for any issues people have had with him, he corrected those mistakes and made this defense look much, much better against the Eagles last night than they did in week 3. So now he gets to play a team that he faced like 2 or 3 weeks after playing the Eagles. What adjustments will we see from Todd Bowles this time around? And I'm hoping, and Todd Bowles is a brilliant defensive mind.
Yep.
I think we're going to see, again, just something very different to what we've seen at all from the Bucs defense throughout the whole season, including last night. So I'm curious to see what Todd Bowles can really cook up this time around.
Yeah, it wasn't bad last time, right? When the Buccaneers took on the Lions, there's Todd Bowles and KJ Britt, who actually outsnapped Devin White in yesterday's game at the inside linebacker position next to Levante David. Matt had the snap count story up on our website earlier. You can check that out on pewterreport.com. But I want to say they were averaging around 30 points per game when they came into Tampa Bay. Granted, this was early in the season. This is week 6. This was the 5th game for the Buccaneers. They're coming off of a bye week. And Todd Bowles' defense held them to 20 points. So I think it was 10 points under their average. And totally shut down the run. Knocked David Montgomery out of the game. I think the Lions only had 40 yards on the ground. But Jared Goff and that Lions passing attack, it was really Amon-Ra St. Brown who had a huge game. Of course, Jameson Williams had a big time touchdown on that one-on-one shot over Ryan Neal, right? And that was a kind of a dagger in the game. At that, I want to say happened in the third quarter, Matt, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yes.
So, we'll see how he's going to defend this. I think he's on to something. I think that when you go back and look at what happened last year, or not last year. Sorry, folks. Listen, we're on fumes right? from last night. I got 4 hours of sleep, man. I don't know about you, but it was certainly a late night. But yeah, there's the play there. There was the Jameson Williams touchdown, matched up 1-on-1 with Ryan Neal, and putting Zion McCollum at safety. I think we're going to continue to see that, just the personnel usage. And Matt, that was one of the criticisms we had with Todd Bowles is, okay, he's, he can be a defensive mastermind at times, right? And he certainly was on Monday night. I mean, that was a masterpiece by Bowles in terms of just taking away everything Philly wanted to do. But if there's been a critique that we've had, it's been that he is slow to react to depth chart changes, starting lineup changes, right? And boy, he found a way to use just about everybody on defense, right? Having a package that started the game with Will Golston and as a 4-man defensive tackle group with a 6-man defensive line, using KJ Britt instead of Devin White in that package when they were going up against 2 tight end personnel, which was typically a key or a tell for the Eagles to run the ball. And then Zion McCollum, right? Using him at safety, at nickel, kind of, and Todd Bowles said today, kind of an enigma for the Eagles. They didn't know where he was lining up. And boy, on one down, he was at corner. The next down, he was at slot. The next down, he was at free safety, at strong safety. So he was a chess piece that Bowles used last night. And I think that you're going to see that going forward because they do have some speed, right? Josh Reynolds, more the possession receiver. Amon-Ra St. Brown, very quick, dangerous yards after catch. We saw that back in week 6 on his touchdown right before halftime where he eluded about 4 or 5 Buccaneer defenders. And, of course, Jameson Williams, the deep threat. So they have speed. I think Bowles is on to something here with Zion McCollum at safety.
And Bowles was extremely complimentary of 2 guys you see in this photo right now with Zion McCollum and KJ Britt. Had some really nice things to say about Britt. He said he's probably our best downhill thumper. And he said that we view this defense that we have 3 starting inside linebackers. And then, yes, as you said, Zion called him an enigma. But don't take my word for it because you can watch Todd Bowles say it right now.
He was on that package and, They came out in it quite a bit more than they had in the past in 12 personnel. So KJ is probably our best downhill thumper, and it was very good to have him in there for that. And like I said, KJ is a good football player. We think we have 3 starting linebackers in there, and he's a big part of that. He's earned his right to play. He's still a leader on our team, and he did very well.
Who was worked the best or had the most crucial role in having a better outcome?
No, I didn't. I mean, the 6 down lineman helped. I guess it might have deterred some things. Zion moving around from nickel to safety to corner, so not really knowing what he is. You know, he's kind of an enigma right now, and we just got to make sure we don't confuse him. I think that helps in coverage when we're trying to play a little more man, because now we got our 3 best cover guys out there. And other than that, the guys, we're letting our elephants be elephants and our giraffes be giraffes, meaning our blitzers blitz and our cover guys cover.
Now, I imagine Todd Bowles does not want the Lions to be the Lions, because that means that they're probably doing some good things. But I really like what Bowles said at the end there about just having our best cover guys on the field and playing more man-to-man, because I think one of the issues that we've had with Bowles, not even this season, but really with him as a defensive play caller, is for all the great blitzes and exotic schemes he comes up with, well, he does 85% of the job, but then the last 15% of it of just, okay, let's make sure we have the right coverage down. Yeah. They just play that soft zone that we hate, and someone's open and they make the big play. But by playing man-to-man, yes, you are trusting your guys, Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean, to stick with the receivers that they're on, and occasionally you'll get the big Devontae Smith game. But the payout of all the stops they were able to get and forcing Jalen Hurts to get rid of the football quickly when it was, a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and that's what Bowles talked about a lot too, that there wasn't many 3rd and short situations that the Eagles could really kind of run whatever they wanted to run. So I thought that was super important. And I just love what you saw last night. Thanks to Lucas Batiste for the $1.99 super chat. He says, "I'm confused, guys. Is Zion our starting safety now?"
That's good. That's what Todd Bowles wants. He wants the Lions confused, right? Because Kayvon Merriweather, the rookie safety, has played over half the snaps in some games down the stretch. You've seen D. Delaney in there. You've seen Ryan Neal in there. You've seen Zion McCollum now in there. And Merriweather only had 3 snaps on defense last night. So I think Todd Bowles threw a bunch of wrinkles out there to give the Lions a lot of kind of food to digest. Right, a lot of game film that you're going to have to burn through. What if they do here, guys? If they come out in this 6-man front again, this is how we are going to defend this. If they defended us with a 3-4 like they did back in week 6, this is what we do to defend this. If McCollum is at safety, we're going to do this. If it's Ryan Neal, we're going to do that. If it's D. Delaney, we're going to do this. See what I'm saying? It's like there's only so many hours in the day that you have to prepare for all the different scenarios. And I mean, Todd Bowles just unloaded both barrels against the Eagles. And as a result, it's really going to give Ben Johnson a lot to think about, a lot to prepare for. And the thing is I just know this, at any level, even when I was a popcorn or defensive coordinator, the more that you have film on certain plays and personnel groupings, the more you have to study. And, if I said, Matt, here's 10 plays, we're going to focus in on these 10 plays with these couple personnel groupings and what they do out of these, that's one thing. But if I sit there and say, we're going to defend these 40 plays, right?
Yeah.
now that 2-hour practice, you're only spending, 2 or 3 minutes on this play, 2 or 3 minutes on that play, rather than a focused 8 to 10 minutes on this, making sure everybody knows where to go. How many times have we heard Todd Bowles say, coverage bust, right? It was a bust. It was a day one install, right? Well, that's just offenses doing a lot. And the more you have to prepare for, the more potential there is for breakdowns, for confusion, because you just don't have enough time to absorb in 1 week all of the information and all of the different variants and variables that you can do out of these different personnel groupings. I think that's kind of why the Shanahan type offense has given Todd Bowles so many problems, right?
Yeah.
That McVay Shanahan style. And one of the guys that has been a trigger man in that offense, and it's a different style now in Detroit, is Jared Goff. I'm going to be talking about him in about 2 minutes when we do roll call today at 4:20.
These games are very much just like a test. You prepare as much as you can, you study different looks, and then when you get here for the game itself, it's like, what can you identify? What do you understand? But, I certainly didn't get 100 on really a lot of tests that I had, especially as I got older. And I think that's why it was important that Bowles said that about Zion as well, is we don't want to confuse him, because we've seen this defense look confused with the Bucs coverages. Right. Thanks to Stephen Masella for the $2.79 super chat and the $6.99 super chat. As Stephen says, love your show, guys. Thank you. Just wondering, what does last night impact how we should approach free agency? Also, I would start Britt over White. Well, I mean, they're kind of already doing that with KJ Britt over Devin White. I like to roll the Devin Whites in too, of just letting him blitz on third down.
That's right. It's what he does best.
It's what he does well. I don't care if the other team knows it. You still got to stop it.
That's right.
I really like how they're looking at that.
Well said.
Impacts free agency. Well, they'll have more money. It's always interesting with free agency because it's a little bit of a tell of like, okay, well, they signed this guy, so maybe they won't draft that position in April because of what goes on there. If anything, I just think it's more attractive for outside free agents, not in-house guys like Mike Evans and Antoine Winfield Jr., where, hey, I want to go to Tampa. I want to play Baker Mayfield. Wow, Bowles, that defensive scheme.
Yeah.
The NFC South, not that great. Yeah, I want to go to Tampa. So if anything, it's nice as more people to come.
No, I think you're exactly right. And I think the other thing, too, is you look at the offensive line, right? They could use an upgraded center. They can use an upgrade at guard. I think one of those positions will be addressed in free agency. And then the opposite position, if they get a free agent center, then you look at getting a guard in the draft. I don't know that they want to start two guys, rookies, next to each other on that offensive line, especially when Cody Mauch is either going to be the center next year or he's going to be a guard, and he's only in his second year. So that would be a very kind of vulnerable unit in the middle of that interior part of the offensive line. So we'll continue to talk about that and get to your super chats. We really appreciate that. You know what else we appreciate? We appreciate the fact that you Pewter people have made Pewter Report TV be your destination when it comes to Buccaneers coverage, and the Pewter Report podcast has been here for you guys 4 times a week. That's going to continue during the offseason. We are at 12,997 subscribers right now. We need 3 more of you people, and we see there's about 387 people watching live right now here on our YouTube channel. So if you're one of those people, and we got about 400 or so to choose from here, but you're not a subscriber, hit the button. It's free. It's free. So hit the subscribe button, become a subscriber for Pewter Report TV. Helps our numbers. And we should hopefully get over 13,000 today on the show. And if we do, I'll show you a cool graphic that we made. So you can check that out. But right now, Matt, it's what we do typically on Mondays and hopefully when it's a Victory Monday. But today, it's a Tuesday and happens to be a Victory Tuesday. And it's called
Roll Call. Where are you at, Pewter people? Yep, we love doing this every Monday or sometimes Tuesday, depending on the Bucs schedule. We do it all season long, all year long. Doesn't matter if the Bucs are in the regular season or playoffs or not. Just a fun way we interact with everybody. Scott's about to go on a little diatribe about the Bucs and Jared Goff, I believe. And in the meantime, if you guys want to start showing your location, typing in where you guys are watching from, we'll put it up on the screen and give a shout out to a couple of people after as well. So, Scott, without further ado, whenever you're ready.
You know, you look at Todd Bowles and the type of game plan that he put together last night to not just wipe out the Eagles' running game, but also really negate Jalen Hurts as a scrambler, as a guy that can make throws outside the pocket and make plays downfield. And it certainly helped that A.J. Brown was out of action. But I think the thing is, when you look at what Todd Bowles has to do now, he really has to take on this guy right here, Jared Goff. Right, Goff has been a little bit of a thorn in the side to Todd Bowles. Now, he's faced, as the starting quarterback for either the Rams or the Lions, he's faced the Buccaneers now 3 times, this Todd Bowles defense as well. And, of course, one of those games, the most recent one, was back in Week 6 at Raymond James Stadium. Kind of ruined the creamsicle game for Tampa Bay. But this is what Goff has been able to do. I didn't have time to build the graphics, so just listen to me real quick here. But go back to 2019 in that epic 55-40 win from the Bruce Arians-led Buccaneers out there at the LA Coliseum when the Rams were playing out there. Jared Goff, now this was a game that Sean McVay said, we're not going to try to run the ball against the Todd Bowles defense. That's just stupid. And I want to say Todd Gurley maybe had 4 or 5 carries the whole game. So they gave up on the run before they even started. Jared Goff had 45 completions out of 68 attempts, completing 66% of his passes for 517 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He also had a fumble, which was a scoop and score by Ndamukong Suh, former LA Ram himself. So the Buccaneers did get the better of Goff, even though he threw for 517 yards. But he extracted some revenge the next year in 2020, right before the Bucs bye week, right before they went on that tear of ripping off 8 straight wins, including 4 in the postseason, winning Super Bowl 55. The Jared Goff-led Rams came into Tampa Bay and beat the Buccaneers 27-24. Goff was 39 of 51, 76% completion percentage for 376 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And then, of course, in this most recent game, he has completed 30 of 44 passes for 68%, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the Buccaneers have only sacked him 5 times in those 3 games. So now Tampa Bay was able to get after Goff with some regularity. Kalijah Kancey got his first NFL sack against Jared Goff. Levante David also had a big-time sack of Goff. So getting to Goff, that's going to be key. They're going to have to do that to quiet the crowd and try to negate some of that home field advantage that they have up there in the Motor City. But Jared Goff gets rid of the ball extremely quickly, and that's something Todd Bowles talked about today, was just how fast Jared Goff gets rid of the ball. He's a good quarterback. They have fast receivers. They're a good offense, good offensive line. And so I think this is going to be the next puzzle for Todd Bowles to figure out is how do we slow down Jared Goff? Because in that game back in week 6, again, they held the Lions to just 40 yards on the ground. They knocked David Montgomery out of the game. And they've done that before with Goff, whether it be with the Rams or the Lions. They've taken away the ground game. But he has still put up the yards, more importantly, put up the touchdowns, and he has 2 straight wins over Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One is as a Ram, the most recent one as a Lion. They're going to have to do a better job of getting in Jared Goff's face, sacking him, applying pressure, and picking him off. Because if they don't, this is the kind of guy that if he gets hot, he can stay hot, and he can roll up yards and points and make it a long day for the defense. So as great as Todd Bowles was on Monday night, Matt, he's got another challenge ahead of him. And he's done a pretty good job of figuring out the second go-around. Go back to that 2020 season when the Kansas City Chiefs and Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes torched his defense in the first half. He got the better of the Chiefs, not just in the second half of that game. Too little, too late. They also lost 27-24, but got the better of them in the Super Bowl, holding Mahomes and the Chiefs offense out of the end zone in an epic 31-9 win. And it looked an awful lot like that in terms of a masterpiece of a performance by Todd Bowles, crafting a new scheme to defeat the Eagles 32-9 last night.
I wish that they won't do this, but I wish we could have like a camera on the room when like Todd Bowles and Casey Rogers and Larry Foote are all getting together, being like, okay, like this is how we're going to attack this team. I think that would be so much fun to watch, but for obvious reasons, you can't do that. Callie, I was laughing at that comment before. Fantastic job, everybody.
Yeah.
Fantastic job with roll call today, because I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to get through all of these. And Scott's going to be done talking about what he's finishing up. And then I'm just going to be here like still clicking, being like, all right, yeah, cool. But Love the participation from everybody today.
Whoa.
Did we hit it? Did we hit it?
13,000 subscribers. We're at 13,003. So thank you, Pewter people.
Let's go.
Our stated goal from over a month ago was by the end of football season. Pewter people, help us get to 13,000. Guess what, Matt? Season isn't over yet. The season continues for at least one more Sunday as the Bucs travel up to the Lions, up in Detroit to play the wild card, not the wild card, the divisional playoff round. And you guys did it. You helped us get to 13,000. So thank you so much, Pewter people. And tell a friend. Tell a family member. If you know Buccaneer fans that don't know about our podcast, help us out. Let them know. Send them a link. Text them a link and help us get to 14,000. That's the next goal.
Yeah, thank you to everybody that subscribed. Means so much to all of us. We're not done with the show, but just a reminder for everybody, tomorrow, another podcast on Thursday as well. Tomorrow's episode, we will specifically be previewing Bucs versus Lions in this divisional round. Look at some of the top matchups, how the Bucs can attack the Lions, how the Lions might attack the Buccaneers, and of course, we'll be at the practice facility, so we'll get the latest from Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles again, and really everybody. So, yeah, thanks again to everybody for 13,000, and that will be our show coming up tomorrow. Let's get back to roll call real quick, though.
Yep.
Want to give a shout out to a number of people today, starting out with Joel Elriga from Mulberry, Florida, Michelle C., frozen in Tallahassee. Yeah, the weather hasn't been ideal today, but that's all right. Dan O'Reyes watching from Bel Air, Florida. It's not too far from the Tampa city. Natural Bodybuilding Over 50 from Columbia, Tennessee. David Gonzalez, Bakersfield, California. Chris King, probably not the former Bucs PR staff guy, but watching from Victoria, Australia. Very, very cool. He also says, you should note we have a local Facebook group that has a large number of active listeners down in the land down under.
That's awesome.
Chris, that's very cool. If you want to email me or hit me up on social media, I'd like to check out that group more if you want to send it to me. Josue Ortiz, Toledo, Ohio. Kieran Butt from Norwich, UK. So England as well. Jack watching from Washington, D.C., but he's in Cocoa Beach right now, so missing the snow. Wise decision there, Jack.
For sure.
Someone unknown from Seattle, Washington. Tyler Baker watching from Naples, Italy. Very nice. I'll be in Italy in May, so looking forward to that. So, ciao bella. Rita Momau from Tokyo, watching from Tokyo. D. Diaz watching from San Juan, Puerto Rico, home of Bad Bunny. And last but not least, right in our backyard, Chris Williams, 58, watching from Ybor City.
Awesome.
Thanks again to everybody that participated. Couldn't get to everyone in roll call, but wanted to give a shout out to a number of people. So thank you guys so much. Also, would like to say thank you to our good friends over at Celsius, and of course, want to tell everybody about the newest flavor of Celsius.
So good.
Celsius Essentials. So they are loaded with 270 milligrams of caffeine to help you live fit, and there's no sugar in them at all. It's the ultimate energy drink line by Celsius that is formulated for the fitness enthusiasts looking to elevate their performance. Made with the Celsius proprietary MetaPlus formula, they have 3 essential aminos that provide you with an unbeatable combination of ingredients that support your physical and cognitive performance. With this special formula, Celsius Essentials is a game changer for those wanting to unlock their full potential and take their fitness journey to the next level. The Celsius Essentials are available at 7-Elevens nationwide. If you want to get the 3-flavor variety pack, you can get those over at Walmart. They're rolling out nationwide to select retailers, and sooner rather than later, they will be on Amazon where you can pick them up. So check out the new Celsius Essentials if you're a fan of the old school flavors as well, whether it's the sparkling orange, sparkling watermelon, maybe the cosmic vibe, the Arctic vibe. You can go pick them up where you want. Could be at a health and fitness store. Or maybe you can pick them up at your bodega.
Bodega.
And once you go into your bodega and you know you want more, go to Amazon, get them in bulk. Get the variety pack as variety spice of life, and you can have it sent to your place whenever you want. It could be a week, month, quarterly, yearly. You're in charge. Just make sure you're drinking Celsius energy drinks. Make Celsius your number one pick. Celsius, the official energy drink of the Pewter Report podcast. Got some more super chats to get to, so can't keep the super chatters waiting. Let's go to Up and Down. Thank you, Up and Down, for the $1.99 super chat. Says, don't forget what Devin White said after week 3. Yeah, we got to give credit to Devin White. He said after the loss to the Eagles that we were going to make the playoffs, and now they defeated the Eagles. So revenge tour continues. Shout out to Matt Bucs Fan 1, great name, for the $5 super chat. Thank you. Says, I hope Canales stays a couple of years. Baker needs some stability, and this system is working. It would suck to re-sign Baker without Canales. And yes, Scott, we talked about this on last night's show, but again, we did that show at 12:30 in the morning. So don't blame anyone that wasn't able to watch. It was pretty late. But we did talk about, one, stability for Baker is going to be just as important as getting that big contract that other teams may want to give him. And Dave Canales is very self-aware of himself as a play caller, and says that he wants to stay in Tampa for a while, and probably realizes that he needs a little bit more seasoning before he jumps from offensive coordinator to head coach. Because let's remember, he's still in his first year as an offensive coordinator, so there's plenty of room for him to grow.
Yeah, and I mean, if he's going to get a head coaching job, it's going to be because of him as a play caller. I mean, there are a couple of coaches out there. Harbaugh is one of them. Tomlin's another, right? They don't call plays, but a lot of them do, right? Whether it's Todd Bowles, who calls plays on the defensive side, or Andy Reid, who calls them on the offensive side, right? So if he's going to get a head coaching job, it's going to be because of his offensive prowess. I just don't think he's there yet, but the best thing about Dave Canales is just his charisma, his leadership. He makes you believe. And it's kind of funny, Matt, because I remember when you and I were out there at every OTA, at the press conferences, et cetera, that first Dave Canales press conference blew us away. We had him on the Pewter Report podcast during the summer. And I mean, the way he articulates and breaks things down, and how descriptive he is and informative he is, he makes you believe, right? I mean, you talk about winning the press conference. That guy won the press conference. He just about wins the press conference every time, unless, and Buccaneer fans have kind of caught on, unless the offense is absolutely awful the Sunday before. Then it comes in Thursday. Hey guys, how you doing? You know,
what do you got for me?
Yeah, what do you got for me? And Buccaneer fans are like, But he's a well-liked, positive, upbeat guy. He is a young Pete Carroll. This guy has a bright future, I think, as a head coach. But you want to go into any job being as prepared as you can be. I've seen what it's like to go into a situation and not be prepared. That was Raheem Morris at age 33 when this team abruptly fired John Gruden. Like, I want to say it was today's the 16th. I want to say it was like January 17th or 19th, something like that. Late into the offseason, a couple of weeks after the season had ended for the Buccaneers. And they just decided to make Raheem Morris the head coach. They didn't want to lose him. Raheem Morris went 3-13. Then he went 10-6. Then he went 4-12. And I think the next time he gets a head coaching job at age 47 now, he's going to do a really good job. But that's because of the experience and the seasoning he got. And I think Dave Canales is right on track. He's learned a lot from Todd Bowles. He's mentioned that in those press conferences, Matt. Let this guy stay here, build this system for a couple of years, get comfortable being a play caller, and then take on the challenge of leading an entire team, not just an offense.
It'll be cool, too, for Canales. And he's talked a lot about mentors he's had. To have Pete Carroll as one of your mentors, and then from a defensive side, a defense perspective, Todd Bowles, a guy that you worked under, is pretty damn good for sure. Thanks to Joel L. Rican for this $20 super chat. Sticking with the topic of Dave Canales, says, it was awesome to see Canales getting into a groove with this play calling. I'm excited to see Canales' growth in Tampa. Go Bucs. Yeah, spot on. I think, and I kind of said this about the running game, but I think it's more about the Bucs offense in general. One thing Canales, I think, does really well is he's I think a better offensive coordinator when playing with a lead. And, that's not going to happen every single time that you're in the league. But the fact that they jumped on them early, when he finds something that works, when he finds a true weakness on the defense, and he cracks the code, if you will, he's great at just attacking that over and over and over again. And you for sure saw that last night, where I think he can kind of improve a lot even after this season is when your first look, your first read isn't going your way, or they take something out of the game. How quickly can you adjust?
Yes.
When do you start throwing the ball versus just running the football? And, he loves boxing, or he loves doing boxing analogies. How do you make that counterpunch when they hit you, when they attack you a certain way? So that's kind of where I'd like to see Canales improve. But yeah, to your point, Joel, when he's in a groove, it's been tough to stop the Bucs because they've had those moments this season.
Yep. No, I well said. And listen, Todd Bowles has said this guy's a quick learner. He doesn't make the same mistakes twice, right? And he absorbs things pretty quickly. And here's the other thing too is that I'm happy that Todd Bowles is staying on as the head coach next year because he has earned the right with the great job he's done getting 6 wins out of the last 7 games, turning this entire season around, absolutely throttling the Eagles last night in one of his best performances, not just as a head coach, but a play caller, and devising that game plan. Wow. Dante Mason here.
Dante Mason.
In 1 second here. But I tell you, Todd Bowles is 60, right? Bruce Arians retired at 70. I don't know how long Todd Bowles has coaching in him, right? He's coached a long time. If this team wins the Super Bowl, right, in a couple of years, he may hand the thing off to Dave Canales the way Bruce Arians handed it off to Todd Bowles. I'm not ruling that out. I mean, there could be a scenario where Todd Bowles leaves out of his own volition and decides that he's ready to retire and call it a career and turns this thing over to Dave Canales in a couple of years. I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to sit there and just about write Bowles and the Buccaneers off at 4-7 and leave them for dead, right? We can have the pendulum swing the other direction and think the opposite way and say, okay, well, what if he wins the Super Bowl in a couple of years and says, hey, I'm 62, I'm checking out, and Dave, this is your ship to run, the way that Bruce Arians handed it off to him. Who knows?
That would be really cool to see. And I think people forget sometimes, like, not every single person, not every single coach wants to essentially coach until they're 95. Like, some people are more than fine with just
Bill Cowher retired early.
Exactly. He was the first person I thought of.
Retired early.
Yeah. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So that would be cool, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, because we got to get to this $49.99 super chat from Dante Mason. Dante, thank you so much for your generosity. Really appreciate it. As Dante says, how about that basement team? The team they said we was going to win 3 games. LFG with a bunch of cannonballs. Dante, I can tell you right now, to go back to Todd Bowles, he's laughing at the haters right now.
Oh, yeah.
A snippet.
He wasn't actually laughing at the haters.
Just a snippet.
Laughing at the haters are a lot of the people that doubted him this season. I mean, I doubted him at times too when they were 4-7. It was tough not to. But you know what?
Yeah.
Todd Bowles was right. It didn't snowball. We all thought it snowballed. He was right. It did not snowball. So, yeah, I mean, and Bowles spoke about going through adversity today and a number of different things. But again, and I tweeted this out before we spoke to Bowles. Bucs fans, NFL fans, but specifically Bucs fans for this. There are 8 teams remaining in the postseason. There are 8 teams that still are preparing and getting ready to play a football game this season. Their season is still going. The Buccaneers are one of those teams.
That's right.
Regardless of how you felt at the beginning of the year, whether it was about Todd Bowles, whether it was about Canales, about Baker Mayfield, whether you thought that the Bucs should have tanked and try to get a new quarterback and whatever, or compete, you got to be happy with this team. You got to be thrilled about how they have come together, overcome adversity, proved a lot of people wrong, and are fighting to get to the NFC Championship game, to make it to the second round this year with this team, everything that we kind of highlighted over the year. Everyone's hat's got to be off for Bowles, for the whole organization.
I get corrected right here. Why not this year? I said in a couple of years with Todd Bowles. What did this team? Because listen, it's better to have momentum and health than to have a bunch of wins in your win column.
Yes.
I remember back in 2007 when the Buccaneers won the NFC South. Jason Pierre-Paul and Matthias Kiwanuka and those Giants rolled into Tampa and beat the Buccaneers in the wild card round, and then went right through the entire NFC South, or not the NFC South, the NFC on the road, and beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. This is the Eli Manning team. And I want to say they were 9-7. So it doesn't matter what your record is. If you get in, and that's why they always say, we just want to get in, right? And if you're healthy and you have momentum and you're hot, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles had 11 wins, 2 more wins than the Buccaneers. Didn't matter last night. So it doesn't matter how many wins you had or losses you had prior to the playoffs. It's are you in, and are you hot, or are you not? And last night the Buccaneers were red and pewter hot, and the Eagles were stone cold last night.
And that's the beauty of just, it's one game. It's any given Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Playing the Lions this week, maybe 7 out of 10 times the Lions may beat the Bucs. That's not my thought, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That still gives the Bucs 3 chances to beat the Lions. They only need to do that once. It is not a 7-game series, because if it was a 7-game series, I think Detroit might take it 4-2 or something like that. But it only takes that one. So momentum and having a fully healthy group can take you a long way. Yep. And Baker looked way healthier last night than he did against Carolina. So thanks to Tom Bucs fan for this $5 super chat, who says, what was the adjustment given to Baker by his physiotherapist to make him better? Yeah, Baker spoke last week about how he has one of his trainers in who he called a wizard.
Yeah.
I just think having another week to rest those ribs and the ankle. I mean, he had 2 scrambles. He was moving around pretty well. Baker will be the first guy to tell you that, when that adrenaline is pumping, you're not really thinking about the injury and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But overall, it was good to see Baker moving around, and he made every single throw. So I don't think I need to videotape every single pass that Baker makes in practice this week, because I don't think the ribs are as much of an issue, because the incompletions were coming from drops by the receivers, not because of Baker overthrows. Yeah.
Speaking of drops, Mike Wells with the $2 super chat. What did you guys think of Cade's performance? I thought, Cade Otton played out of his mind last night. Yeah. I thought he certainly had a great game from a numbers standpoint. I want to say it was, they were going, it was third quarter. Yeah, they're going right to left. And he caught one pass, and I turned to Josh Capo in the press box and Bailey Adams, and I said, I've never seen Cade Otton run that fast before.
Yeah.
I think it was a 24-yard catch and run, and he was booking. He was really, getting after it. I don't know that we can expect this all the time from Cade. He seems to, and you saw it last night, drop the wide open catch across the middle. He was wide open, and then also had a touchdown pass hit him right in the hands. Now, it looked like he was getting kind of tripped up a little bit. That's a catch Rob Gronkowski makes, Travis Kelce makes, maybe even Dallas Goedert makes. It just, if you want to be a legit starting caliber tight end, not necessarily a Hall of Famer, but I mean, just a legit tight end, you got to make those, right? That's an opportunity to get 7 in a playoff game. They had to settle for 3 because of that drop. I think ideally he's a really good number 2 tight end if he hits the weight room a little harder and can be a better inline blocker. I think that's where he has to improve. He's a good receiver. He's not great. He can be good after the catch, not great. I think there's better tight ends that are out there that if you get one in the draft, I think even Ben Sinnott from Kansas State, I think it would be an upgrade as a receiver. But if Cade Otton's your number 2 tight end, I don't care what team you are, that's good. I think that's his ideal role.
Yes. Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you. What he did last night was awesome. I just
Yeah.
don't think you can bank on that every single week. And this isn't me taking away from K. Dotton's game, because outside of the drop, I mean, he was awesome. He was fantastic. So, and I did find myself during the game thinking, and I may have said it out loud during the live stream, that yes, he's great as a tight end too. I would just love if the Bucs had a little bit more of a receiving tight end that I think would be far and away a huge benefit to Baker Mayfield more than anything else. If he had that tight end that he could rely on every single time. And then, if you have Cade as your second tight end, he's still going to get a fair amount of playing time, can still be involved in the passing game. But, up until this performance, and he had a great game against the Texans too, but every other week, Cade Otton's getting like 2 catches for 20 yards, and maybe he scores a touchdown. He's had some clutch moments, and he deserves that credit. But I don't think that should stop the Bucs from looking at improving their tight end room this offseason. Meets McGee, thank you for the $5 super chat. We didn't forget you, but when Dante Mason hits you with a $49.99 super chat, you got to get to it. Anyway, thank you, Meets McGee, who says, if you rewatch the Bucs Lions highlights, lots of missed tackles, parentheses, led to 7 points, and blown coverages. 7 points given up by Neal. Not at all scared. Yeah, that's something that you can feel good about if you're a Bucs fan. Yeah, it didn't look great against the Lions, but a lot of those plays were, as Meets McGee just said, missed tackles. Amon-Ra St. Brown catching the ball over the middle of the field, breaking 2 or 3 tackles and taking it to the house or getting close to the end zone. And on the flip side, Baker Mayfield missed Trey Palmer on a couple of throws. Baker missed some throws where if he's looking like he did last night and he hits those big ones, makes it a very different outlook, a very different outcome this second time against Detroit. Now, this time it's in Detroit, a little bit different, home field advantage. Eminem will be at the game, I presume. So I'm trying to get this going because Bert Kreischer is going to be in town for Gasparilla.
Yeah.
I want Bert Kreischer and Eminem to have a friendly bet for their teams. Nice. Where if the Bucs win, Eminem has to perform a concert in Raymond James Stadium at a future date. And if the Lions win, Bert Kreischer does a show at the Lions Stadium.
A free concert?
Ooh, maybe a free concert.
Yeah, free concert, yeah. I mean,
because I really want to see Eminem live. So
yeah.
Anyway, maybe someone in the Bucs organization can get that message to Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, it was cool to see Ric Flair do the woo Nature Boy. Woo! That was cool. And I didn't really meet Ric Flair, but I was within like about 4 feet of him last night after the game, which is pretty awesome too. I kind of grew up wrestling. So I don't have any smooth transitions for this. So what I'm going to do now, because I'm a little too tired for a smooth transition, is I'm just going to play the Immuni Financial video, and I want you to listen to it, and we're going to talk about Immuni in just a second.
At Immuni Financial, we help you live in the now.
Congratulations. We're so happy for you.
Thank you.
And even though the now may feel very different, you still need to plan for the future.
How's retirement treating you? Oh, just fantastic.
I know I say it all the time, but you really got to come up to Colorado.
Let's do it. All right. Yeah.
We can help you develop that plan to keep you on track, so you can still prepare for tomorrow, today. Immuni Financial. Plan ahead, stay ahead.
Just got my statement back from Immuni Financial. Very happy with my results, even with this bit of a turbulent economy we have going on. Why? Because the folks at Immuni Financial know what they're talking about. They've got over 40 years of experience doing this. They proudly serve clients across the country, not just in Tampa Bay, not just in Florida, but across the country since 1980. Managing your family's wealth, well, it means more to Immuni Financial than just allocating your assets. It means legacy planning, brokerage and advisory services, retirement accounts, college savings accounts, and insurance services. With 40 years of experience, as I said, let Immuni Financial help you plan ahead and stay ahead. Give them a call. Call Immuni Financial at 1-800-868-6864 or visit immuni.com. Folks, you've been absolutely fantastic in helping us get over 13,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel today. We're now 13,006 and growing. So thank you so much for that. Now here's what I want you to do. Whether it's the Eric Gross Group, whether it's my bookie, whether it is Underdog Fantasy, whether it's Immuni Financial, certainly grab a can of Celsius to start your day.
Yeah.
Help us out by patronizing our our advertisers, our sponsors, our Pewter partners, if you will. And we would really greatly appreciate that. So make sure that you check out immuni.com. Just take a few minutes and peruse the website. Give David a call. Give Mark a call and get a second opinion on your financial situation. It doesn't hurt to get a second opinion when it comes to your medical situation, but it's certainly with your finances, with your retirement, having another set of eyes look at that to see if you're actually making the right moves could be critical for you in the long run.
Before we end the show, let's get to a couple videos from Todd Bowles that we haven't played yet. This first one, he kind of talked about like the big changes from that he made defensively from week 3 to last night's game, and then spoke a little bit more about the 6-man front, whether that was installed last week when they're getting ready for the game, or if that was something that he's kind of had in his head about since that first matchup. Anyway, here's Todd.
Todd, obviously things didn't go the way you wanted to the first time you met the Eagles, but how much did you change things up in your approach, just the attack, the game plan, the second time around? When it comes to blitzes, I think it was percentage-wise, it was roughly about the same.
It was completely different from the first time we played them, all the way around from a game plan standpoint, based of different packages. The guys were communicating better. We could do more since they had some more experience over the course of the games, and we tweaked some things around because what we did the first time, we didn't prepare it well.
Could you see that causing a lot of confusion on their part?
I can't speak for them, but it helped us defend some of the things that we gave up the first time.
Todd, I'm just curious about the origin of that 6-man defensive front yesterday. Is that something that, when you're building the game plan last week, you install it, or could it potentially be something where you kind of had it on your mind since that first matchup in week 3, and if you got a chance to play them again, you wanted to use it?
No, it didn't come up until game plan week, really. We thought about it, we looked at it and compared it to the passing game and thought we can get away with a few things there and added some things to it and tweaked some things. And, the guys, with the exception of the first play, they played it well.
There's another video from Todd as well. He likes to call young players puppies a lot. So obviously they got big contributions from their puppies yesterday, and also a lot of second-year players as well. And Todd's like, yeah, like Rachaad White, he's a second-year player. Logan Hall, he's like this. And he almost forgot how young some of these players are.
Quite a bit, at least 30%, because they're all playing. I mean, Cody Mock was a day one starter. Izian started day one from a nickel standpoint once the season started. Kalijah, when he got back from injury, Yaya came on pretty early. Palmer's been playing very consistently. And then you forget, we got a lot of first-year guys. Rashaad's only in his second year. There's a ton of guys. Logan's only in his second year. We got a ton of guys. Zion's in his second year. We got a bunch of puppies out there playing right now. Rashaad's in his second year. You would think he's 3, 4, 5 years in. So the maturity of all the guys from the lumps we took is really starting to come through now. It's more so the mental toughness and understanding the grind, and I think that's helped us out.
He's got some puppies out there, but they're playing like dogs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tribute. I wrote about it on Friday in my SR's Fab 5 column called Shining Light, the Bucs Shining Light. Jason Light and Todd Bowles, they both work in conjunction with John Spytek, Mike Beal, Rob McCartney, everybody in the front office to get these draft picks. But you look at the last 2 drafts, Matt, and Bowles rattled off some names. He forgot others. These are players that we would consider starters just from the last 2 draft classes. He mentioned Christian Izian, not even a draft pick, an undrafted free agent. So put him off to the side for a second. This is just out of the last 2 drafts. Logan Hall is a starter in the Bucs 3-4 defense, not in nickel, but in 3-4. Luke Gedeke is a starter at right tackle. Rachaad White starting running back. Cade Otton starting tight end. Punter Jake Camarda starter. Zion McCollum starting corner. Starting
everything.
Starting everywhere, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 starters from the 2022 draft class. Then you look at this year, the first 3 guys, Kalijah Cansey, starting defensive tackle in base and nickel. Cody Mauch starting right guard. Yaya Diaby starting outside linebacker, right? And then you've got Trey Palmer, right? That's probably your 4th starter. He is that wide receiver 3. He is splitting that now with David Moore. But I mean, that's 10 guys out of 2 drafts. That's an insane number. And they're good. Usually in the past, when you've started that many young players, you're really bad. You have to start those guys because you're bad. But these Buccaneers are good and maybe on the verge of being great this year. I think if they can win in Detroit, look out, man. I mean, you're either the revenge tour continues with next stop San Francisco, right? Or it is the NFC Championship game here in Tampa against the Green Bay Packers. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and I also think, the fact that they're an underdog and everything like that, I think the players almost enjoy it even more. Yeah. And thanks to Kathy Gillespie for this $2 super chat. It says, Matt, I love your energy. Kathy, I love that you're in the chat. You're at the game. You're still in the chat. You're watching the show. So if you guys are going to take your time to watch us, you're damn right I'm going to bring the energy. Yeah. But thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. I also like this comment from Nick Hartung as well. He says, we can't take so many sacks this week if we want to win. Yeah. Yes, I think that is a big storyline for this week as well. We'll do our preview tomorrow for Bucs Lions, but Baker does sometimes hold on to the ball a little bit too much. There was one play, probably should have thrown it to Payne Durham on 3rd and short, but he didn't. Yep. But anyway, redemption tour, as Russ Weeks says as well. Guys, we're going to have Bucs versus Lions tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to talk everything about this divisional matchup. We'll see what all the players and coaches have to say tomorrow as well. So very much looking forward to talking more Bucs playoff football because it's better when they're involved.
That's right. And I think Eric Gross is looking forward to your phone call. If you need help selling your house or buying a house, well, Eric Gross and the Eric Gross Group, they're the ones to turn to, the official realtor of Pewter Report. And the great thing about Eric is he's a Tampa Bay fan. He's a Pewter Report reader. He checks out the podcast. We've had him on the podcast.
Yes.
And this guy knows football. So it starts there. It starts with a conversation about football for a couple minutes. And then how can I help you either buy a house or sell your house? That's what the Eric Gross Group is all about. Their clients are not just transactions. They're lifelong friendships. Don't let the stress of buying or selling a home keep you out of the game. Eric knows this market like the back of his hand. He's a Tampa native. His father was stationed at MacDill Air Force Base. So let the Eric Gross Group take the pressure off. You can find him on Facebook or Instagram. For the latest open house, check out their social media, Eric Gross Group at Facebook and Instagram. Or you can also check out their website, housesnfla.com, or give Eric a call at 513-907-4271. That's 513-907-4271. Again, visit housesandfla.com. Great website, great layout, great inventory. No matter where you are in your home ownership journey, you're going to feel welcome with the Eric Gross Group, the official realtor of Pewter Report.
And after you check out Eric Gross and the Eric Gross Group, head on back over to pewterreport.com and all of our social media. You could follow us at Pewter Report on X, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. And then, of course, our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. We got the podcast 4 times a week, the Pewter Game Day show, the live stream, another great turnout last night, especially for it being a Monday night as well. Various shows, various clips. So a lot of great content. And yes, thank you again, Pewter people, for getting us over 13,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel. We hit the Mike Evans number, over 13.
That's right.
Now we're on to Chris Godwin.
That's right.
13. So thank you guys so much. Can't thank you enough, and we really appreciate it. So we're going to do it all again tomorrow. Until then, for Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you on Wednesday, tomorrow at 4 p.m. for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast.
Just a snippet.
Out.